Greetings, my beloved, and welcome to the Dark Kingdom. This is something that I am also very interested in talking about on my channel, as this seems to be the ongoing theme with what I talk about here in the Dark Kingdom. But before we begin, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you too can be a part of the Dark Kingdom. Now, loneliness is something that we've all been a victim of, including myself. In my mid-20s, I started to really feel the pain of loneliness. A lot of my work was secluded, and I wasn't exactly open to a community to where I could explore and find people and, just mingle. So I was stuck at home for the most part, and this is what really led to my lonely journey. But now I'm more introduced to an open community. I can speak to more people, and I have been speaking to more people. I've met some extraordinary women, and I feel wonderful. So wonderful to the fact that, well, I don't exactly feel lonely anymore. I'm speaking with all of these extraordinary people, and I put myself in an open spot to where I can find someone. And I know I will eventually, and I'm sure all of you will, who are lonely out there. But a lot of this starts with putting yourself in a position to where you can find somebody. But not just that. It takes a lot of working on yourself as well. And this is just what I personally felt really helped me get over the fact that, right now I'm just not finding anybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improve myself. And that made me feel a whole lot better. I started caring more about where I was in life, my health. Like, I started to go to the gym more. I started to take care of my body more. I cleaned my room. I helped others. I helped my parents substantially. All of these things I did, and I just feel so much better. But that's what I did to help my loneliness. However, that is not entirely the theme of this video, although it is definitely important that I mention that, because society has been going through this unfortunate part of their life where everyone's life, there's a lot of people who are going through this. Loneliness. And I think a lot of it has to do with how secluded we've all become over the years. When I was much younger, we didn't exactly have the internet, at least not to where it is today. We had computers, we had computer games, and WoW actually existed back then, but all of this was very minute. It wasn't anything that was as grand as it is now. With civilization more indoors and on their phones, finding a lover will be a little more complicated. Coming from the 90s to the 2000s era, such an era was different and more simpler time indeed. And things weren't as online and as digital as they are now. And a lot of this leads to dating apps and blind dates, and all of that I'm personally just not a fan of. The reason being, you have to know who these people are, or else you're going to end up in a very unsavory situation, which obviously won't lead to you finding a lover. And because of all of our online connections these days and the internet blowing up the way it has, finding a lover, that has become so rare these days. It really has been. And I think that is why we have AI companions and things nowadays. And this is where the subject of the video really starts to kick off, is how do I personally feel about this? I think this is almost a medication in a way. Almost, not entirely a cure, but a treatment to this situation that we've all been going through. Now, my beloved, there is good to this and horribly, horribly bad to it as well. First, let's go over the beautiful, then we'll get to the ugly. 1,000 years ago, when I graduated from high school, there was this Happy Time game that I was so lucky to find on my phone. The name escapes me at the moment, as the game was in Japanese. Nevertheless, it had a rather beautiful message I didn't expect from a hentai game. Now, my dear, its message was a rather beautiful one, although I was already aware of it at the time. it still had a positive effect on me hearing it from such a game. In this piece, it wasted no time with teaching you good manners. And my favorite part about it is it humanized the love interest. A rare trait from hentai games that we don't see often. You knew this beautiful lady personally, and eventually you found out more about her, her favorite color, food, and even what annoyed her. It was an experience that taught you to be yourself, and don't be afraid to take off that mask and be the good man you were meant to be, because at the end of the day, that special someone that you will inevitably find will be looking for just that, a good person. But as the piece progressed in its story, this led to a friendly bond between the two of you, which inevitably led to love. A romantic story indeed. Ah, my beloved, I admire it when games especially can teach such an extraordinary message. Hence why I do love romance in video games, especially the personal kind. But I digress. Now here comes the negative of this situation. And this doesn't have to do with the piece I was referring to anymore, more about what has become of such a medium these days. And respectfully so, this is where my point does fall apart a little bit concerning why these games could be kind of a positive thing. A friend of mine made a pretty good point that a lot of these things, especially when it comes to romance, is best experienced from a real person. And he is correct. A lot of these things it's good to understand from real people, not just some video game or in the subject matter in AI. With that said, finding people is the problem. People are so indoors these days and so secluded that actually finding that real world interaction and learning these messages and learning these things about romance is going to be difficult. Nevertheless, the best place to learn these things is from another person. And the absolute worst place to learn it, and trust me, this is from experience, I've known some people who have fallen down the path of thinking that these characters are actually real people, and it leading to some rather dark situations. Just before I made this video, I actually asked a few of my close friends to tell me their opinion and their experiences, whatever that might be, critical or not, about my point in this video. I shared them my script and the video I wrote, and they left a few very interesting comments. That's why I keep bringing them up in this video, and I will share one of their opinions at the end of the video. As for me, why this hasn't affected me at all, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm one of the rarer cases, to be fair. Especially when you scroll through Twitter or any of these social media websites, a lot of these people are hardcore fans. But giving you the best case scenario, I'll use me. There is this Discord that me and my friends use, often called Size Wives. It's obviously meant as a joke for me. It's where I celebrate my favorite characters. Whether it be my beloved Nami from One Piece, Panam from Cyberpunk, Tank, or our very own Eileen. This lovely Discord was designed for me to just celebrate my favorite characters, and more than just for them being beautiful women, they're truly amazing characters. But despite my obsession with these lovely women, I understand that they are nothing more than zeros and ones, and I am full aware that they are far from real at all. But there's always going to be someone who doesn't have that reaction that I do. Some people take it a step further where these characters feel actually real to them, and it leads to horrible situations. I don't want to see a man get married to a computer, but it has happened before. But most of, if not all of these stories have rather dark endings that don't leave a very positive light on this subject at all. And concerning these dark endings, I struggle to even mention them in the video. And when I see these AI companions pretending so hard to be a real person, I think about these scenarios, and I don't want more of them. While I'm not entirely against the concept of an AI-generated waifu, I am painfully aware of what it could do to the minds of a lot of the people who exist on this online space we're in today. Especially considering that loneliness has reached an all-new high as of recording this video. This generation is fixated and secluded on their phones, spending most of their day completely alone and idle. And I'm aware that not everyone believes in God, but this point is pretty real and very realistic concerning what this situation is. The Bible says an idle mind is the devil's workshop. What does that mean specifically? If you are idle, it would lead to you doing some unsavory things that you may not have thought you would have done earlier or prior to the situation. This is very true, with more and more people leading into this idle lifestyle. It obviously leads to ridiculous situations where people are arguing about waifus and who should be pitched with who, and why should they be pitched with who, even though both of these characters don't exist, and they can be pitched with anyone you want them to be pitched with. What I'm implying is that a lot of people are extremely susceptible to thinking that these characters are 100% real and will throw logic out the window to try and believe that these characters actually exist and they can really be with them. And I know there's going to be people out there who might even comment on this video.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's real. She's not real, Ray's kid. She's never been real. I know she's not real. Oh my gosh, he knows.
The sad reality we all live in is there are people who think anime characters and any digital zeros and ones character is real. And the online space we live in today is extremely vulnerable to this type of behavior. And if you don't believe me, just go on Twitter for just a few moments and search Genshin Impact. You would be surprised how many people are obsessing over these characters like they're real. And I'll be honest with you, my beloved. This will lead to a very negative pandemic and make this already horrible situation possibly worse. Now, when I referenced that game that I played earlier, I honestly believe that's where this should stay, and it shouldn't go anywhere else outside of this space. A simple waifu game that just leads to a happy time scene, maybe teaches some complex real-life lesson that's rather important. But anything outside of that, I don't think it should be, because the moment you start mimicking human emotion in life, that is when it becomes an issue. Now, in my previous edit of this video, I made a comparison that I still agree with in some ways, is I see a lot of people trying their best to get the attention of some of these online streamers. They could be OnlyFans models, or they could just be people that they don't know on a stream, and they're trying to get their attention by donating thousands of dollars. I made the comparison that at least one is free, right? And yes, that is true, one is free, but my friend made a pretty good point, and one that I do stand by. Yes, one is free, but the other one is real human interaction, which is substantially better. Yes, some people spend thousands of dollars, but that is stupid, obviously. But you don't have to do that. You could just be sitting in a stream trying to talk to not only the model or just the person playing video games or whatever the heck they're doing, and it's still online interaction with real people. You're not dealing with some fictional AI, which at the end of the day is extremely unhealthy. Dealing with real people is far better for you than sitting down for hours talking to something that doesn't exist. Granted, my point that spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these people just to get their attention is obviously a bad thing. Although I really like OnlyFans models. I just don't think it's worth it. And let's say I ever start streaming, or I ever start doing an OnlyFans, which is something I was thinking about. If I ever start doing that, please, do not spend thousands of dollars on me. I don't really want that kind of attention. I'm not that type of guy. But my point was not against their line of work at all, because obviously I support it if I might be a part of it one day. It just doesn't feel right. Me taking so much of somebody's money, and we're money that they could be using on themselves even, especially when it's hundreds of dollars. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to stream, because it just doesn't feel comfortable. But that's my personal opinion. What do you guys think? And I will show you my friend's opinion at the end of the video. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, so you too can be a part of the Dark Kingdom. Take it easy for me, alright? And please do have a blessed day. Bye.
Yeah, um, I agree that causes the mental health issues, definitely. I agree that an obsession with fiction can be bad, but I, I mean this politely. Those are probably the only two things I agree upon. It is definitely not a treatment or something small short term. It shouldn't be a thing in the first place. There have already been relationships and lives ended because of a memory based woman, and that's even happened, bro. Like this guy left his wife and kid, and this woman on his AI, the AI ran out of memory and reset itself. Like there is no way of that having a good outcome, whereas some medication can. And I'm mainly saying this just because I'm friends with some and I stand by it, but sex workers are definitely healthier and nicer to spend your money on than fucking AI. Because, like you said, bro, all that's needed is a human. Whether they care about the person spending the money or not, at least it's another human being. At least it continues the connection. At least it continues benefiting human beings rather than replacing a human being with something completely artificial. Um, Also, why have you used Aro from Twilight as the thumbnail?